So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it right here like so. I have our extractor rod clamped in a smooth jawed vise, not on the knurled head section, obviously. If I did it perfect, this will close and the cylinder will not have any back and forth movement. So the hand itself will absorb the heat from the plate at a slower rate, so it'll relax and be tempered. Old Warhorse is back ready to go.
Hi, and welcome to Over the Gunsmith's Shoulder. I'm Gene Kelly, president of the American Gunsmithing Institute, and in this segment, Master Gunsmith Ken Brooks is going to walk you step by step through a gunsmithing repair. You're going to learn a lot. And if you'd like to learn to be a certified professional gunsmith, then go to AmericanGunsmithingInstitute.com and request an information package. Now let's learn from Ken.
Well, we're back with the Wacky Gunsmith. Wait, no, not the Wacky Gunsmith. This is Over the Shoulder. I got to get my... Nah, just kidding. Seriously, Over the Shoulder, you guys have said that you really like it. That's cool. I'm glad. Hope it's helpful. I appreciate you guys not calling and giving Robert a hard time when my arm gets in the way and all you can see is my arm when I'm screwing stuff. We're in kind of a cramped area here and he's literally trying to look over my shoulder. So sometimes I got to be able to do something to the firearm and my arms are going to be in the way. Appreciate you guys' patience. I try to tell you when that's going to happen or afterwards. And like even with the DNRs, tell you what's going on. When you can't see it, I'll show you later on. All right, so let's get cracking on it, shall we? I've got a Smith & Wesson made for Brazil. One of their 1917 45 ACP type guns uses the half moon clips. One of my guys came in and said, hey, I just need you to check it over before I go shoot it and tell me what's going on and fix whatever's wrong with it. So I'm going to have Robert zoom in real quick. The first thing I notice is that our crane alignment is off. See the gap? There's the gap. Closes up. So pushing the cylinder left and right, our crane opens up. So our crane alignment's out. Coming over here, we've got a little bit of end shake, fore and aft movement of the cylinder. And then timing. These are things I check on revolvers right off the bat because you don't have to take them apart. Whoop. You can see that the hammer was cocked. And I think you could hear the click where the cylinder stop dropped into the cylinder stop notch in the cylinder. So with drag on the cylinder to replicate a fired cartridge dragging across the breech face, as I slowly cock the gun for target use, you can see the hammer is cocked. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that or not. So the gun's been in the shop for a while. I've been doing this there again. So it's right on the verge. That one, I think you could even see the cylinder rotate just ever so slightly. There we go. That's what I was looking to do, is I wanted to rotate it, get the hammer to cock and stay back, and the cylinder to stay in place until I could rotate it manually. So you can see they're all pretty close on the timing. So end shake, crane alignment, timing, everything else seems to be okay. Hammer cocks, no push off. Everything seems to work right. The firing pin protrudes really well. Don't know if you can see that or not. So first thing we're going to do without taking the gun apart is align our crane. So we want our cylinder to stay tight and our crane here. So again, the Smith & Wessons rotate counterclockwise, so it's trying to open as you pull the trigger. The hand is on what is this side of the gun, so it's actually the right side of the gun. So as the cylinder rotates, it's trying to open the crane. So what we're going to do is bend our crane slightly. Maybe that's the wrong term. I should have said adjust our crane. You guys are gunsmiths, so I can say the right thing. We're going to bend it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it right here like so. What's that going to do? Well, here's our crane. Turning this over. Crane comes out and goes back. If I hit the cylinder here, I'm going to bend the crane that way. Now as that rotates up, if I'm bending the crane towards the cylinder latch, that means it's going to come into contact against the frame here. and then with a little bit of push here, and I mean just slightly, the center pin will fall into the hole and lock into place. So we put a little bit of an adjustment there. As it is now, the crane is bent like so, and so we lock up here and we have this play here. Again, revolvers are not very tough, so most of the time it doesn't take a whole lot. A little more than that though. I did one not that long ago. That's already starting to tighten up quite a bit more. I did one not long ago and I hit it one time, not very hard, and it may even happen on this one. It rotate up, it got tight here, and it wouldn't latch the back at all. So look over the top of my glasses because it's too close. We're much better. We're still got a little bit of a gap when I push the cylinder, try to push the cylinder out. So let's see. There we go. Doesn't take a whole lot. Oh man, we're tight now. Now I'm going to cock the hammer. We still spin. But you can tell, not as free as it was. Now I'm going to check crane alignment because I didn't check it before. Up and down. So now I'm pushing the cylinder down, push the thumb piece in. Got a little bit of a bind. As I release pressure on the cylinder, it's allowed to spring back into position. Now I'm going to reach down and pull the cylinder up. I push the thumb piece in. Pretty close to the same. Might be just a little on the low side. If I'm pushing it down, it stays a little more tension that way. Not enough to where I think I'm going to worry about it. I'll loosen this one up just so we can show you on camera. If you had it really bad to where we closed and we were tight here, our crane and yoke assembly are tight against our frame, and the cylinder did not latch here in the back, our center pin did not enter the hole in the frame, then that would mean that the crane was bent too far. So you take a little shim, and I did not cut this up, this penny, somebody else did, put it in there and simply tap on the cylinder right here. Now with the spacer there, the crane now wants to bend the other direction, the opposite of what we've been bending it. Where we go in, we stay tight. And actually, I hope you can tell that that spins a little freer. Still not, it's about where I like it, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Just giving you the rundown. That's what happens when you go too far, and you will. It's easy. Some of these frames and cranes and yokes bend so much easier than others. Some of them, man, you're really hammering on them before they move at all. All right, so now we've got a little bit of end shake. So let's go ahead and take our end shake out. Take our cylinder out, and we're going to have to unscrew our extractor rod so our crane will come out. Okay, I have our extractor rod clamped in a smooth jawed vise, not on the knurled head section, obviously. A lot of these old surplus guns, some of them are super tight, some of them are loose. This one was loose, really loose. All well and good. Okay, so I'm just going to take the cylinder, set it over there, pull our extractor rod out, and to keep from crushing that, I'm going to use our crane alignment tool, which I don't use as a crane alignment tool. You saw how I did the crane alignment. I don't even need the tool to do that job. And this is for those of you who are not independently wealthy and run out and buy every tool available. We're going to stretch the crane so it holds the cylinder to the rear, closer to the breech face, tightening our headspace, removing that end shake. We don't want that cylinder to be able to slop back and forth. If it's held tight, when the cartridge goes off, the bullet exits, the cylinder doesn't go ramming back and forth. If we've got end shake, when the firing pin hits the primer, shoves the whole case forward, bang, we have ignition. the cartridge expands, sticks to the chamber walls. When the bullet exits here, the gases pushing the bullet push on the face of the cylinder to some degree and the cartridge case. So this is driven back. Bang. It hits the back here, bounces, because two pieces of metal that hit each other will often bounce against one another, and it bounces forward. Bang. So you end up with the cylinder going bang, 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 bang every time the gun goes off. So the more end shake you have, the worse it's going to get. You also don't want end shake allowing the cylinder to come forward and rub the back of the barrel. Then the cylinder wants to bind up. So we're stretching this to hold the cylinder all the way back. Kind of a long-winded explanation of what's going on. And you're just looking at my hands, which, you know, okay, they're bad. This is the way I do it. This is the way I was taught. I don't need to run out and buy a tool. If you have a crane stretching fixture, great, use it. I'm not opposed to it. But if you're struggling serious about becoming a gunsmith and you don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to go buy every tool out there, you got to have spring stock, you got to have vise, and you got to have a set of drills. And you use the shank end of the drill to fit in here to keep from compressing or collapsing your crane. And I tighten up the vise and the spring stock as I twist this basically stretches or cuts a groove in our crane. And you can see it right there. Now I try to keep it in one groove. Sometimes it'll get off and you'll spiral and it'll look like a screw. What happens is if it comes off the end, it raises a big burr and crushes the end. It's never a good thing. So try to keep it in one spot. Now we're going to check it again. First thing I'm going to do is make sure that the cylinder goes on and spins. If it doesn't, sometimes the inside needs to be polished as well as the outside. This one goes together. Without any serious craziness. Tighten that up. Cylinder free spins. Take our revolver. Now, if I did it perfect, this will close and the cylinder will not have any back and forth movement. If I need to go more, it'll still have a little bit of back and forth movement. If I took at too much or stretched it too much, it probably won't even close, or if it does close, it'll get super tight. So, okay, we're free to spin. And I'm not seeing any play to speak of. That actually might be a little snugger than it was before. So when we stretch that, it's usually not going to stretch uniformly the same. So the back of that crane can be a little off. So one side's touching more than the others. So often you'll get the cylinder will be free and then it'll get a tight spot and you'll feel it. Sometimes it's subtle. Free, and this one actually might, it's pretty dang good. I think I got one high spot right there. So what we can do is smack it right there with a lead babbitt. When you hit it like that, that crushes the crane back against the inside of the cylinder, which is held tight against the breech, and it'll help flatten or true up that crane. Then most of the time, not always, once you're at this position where it'll actually spin, it's just got a little bit of drag. That little bit of crush on there will be perfect to clean it up, and away you go. All right, so I'm going to run over and get the lead babbitt. I know, didn't realize I was going to need it off the top of my head, and it's just right over there. I just got to go get it. Hold on a minute. I'm going to smack this with the babbitt, just A, to show you how it's done, and B, this is still a little on the snug side. It's actually good when you go and shoot it. I would leave it, but I just soon show you guys as well, and it won't hurt anything. I'm going to smack it kind of at an angle like so. You don't want to go bang into the extractor rod, down into the crane. You don't want to go bang and hit the frame. You want to hit the crane. Try to hit it right about there. Now that I've said that, of course, I'm going to hit my thumb, and then I'm going to hit the end of the barrel, and then I'll finally hit it right, because that's just the way life is, right? Murphy's Law. So you want to hit it right here. Just like that. You can actually see the lead right there. And occasionally it's going to form. You can see I've been using this for a long time. And they use these at Smith & Wesson. Got a little story about that, but hang on just a minute. I want to check that. Right there's a little spot. Yeah, so much better. Yeah, so when I was at Smith & Wesson, I'll try to keep this quick. So I went back to Smith & Wesson to get the shop certified to where we can continue to be their service center. While I was there going through my stuff, one of the former presidents of Smith & Wesson came back he brought a friend or something, and they were hanging out and whatnot. And I hadn't got to go on a tour of the factory yet. I'd just been working with the warranty guys. And this guy came in and he knew several of them, and, back slapping and laughing and, oh, good, and they're like, well, we're going to go on he was going to take his friend and they were going to go on a tour. And they said, well, hey, you haven't got to go, so go with them. I'm like, right on. Well, on the floor, because it's a factory, so they had lines. You follow the yellow line, you don't get off the path, because they don't want you wandering around wherever, getting in trouble, getting hurt, things of that nature. So, well, when you're with the former president of Smith & Wesson, yeah, you get to go to all kinds of places that normal people don't get to go. I'm wandering around with them. We're behind the machines looking at stuff. Well, he heard some smack like what I just did. And he just kind of up, and he got this serious look on his face. And we made a beeline to where they were doing some of the finished work, where they were assembling the guns. And he knew a couple of them, and he's just like, and he kind of, he'd give them the stink eye a little bit. And they looked, and they're like, hey. He's like, I heard you guys over here. And he's like, I hated hearing that. I hated it. They had lead babbitts, and they were hitting parts, making them fit and do what they're supposed to do. And it really bugged him. It was kind of amusing, but it was funny to see. He's just like, I hated hearing that. And I didn't say, I wasn't going to burn any bridges. I'm getting to wander around where most people don't get to go. So I thought it was kind of cool. All right, regardless. A couple things to be aware of. When you are smacking this, be careful. Don't hit the extractor rod, like I mentioned. Also, don't lay the grips, wooden grips specifically, on the bench and then hit it, because they like to break. So be aware. Just things to be aware of. All right, so we have taken out our end shake. We have aligned our crane. Our timing was the other thing that we had some problems with. Before we do that, I want to check one more thing, but I'm on that. I'm on a roll. So with our crane now bent further out at what is the rear of the cylinder, and by further out I mean closer to the thumb latch, to the left, if you're holding the gun, crane is bent a little that way. Well, if you move your cylinder this way, you're moving the ratchet pads in relationship to the hand which direction? Further away from the hand. So chances are that we're a little slower in our timing than we were before. So going to check it again. Now remember, before, even with drag, I'd cock the hammer, and the hammer would come to full cock, and then I'd let go of the cylinder, and we had enough play that it would snap into place. The cylinder stop would snap into place. So as I do it now, we're at full cock. See that? Do her again. Drag on the cylinder, cock. So you see we're a little further off on our timing than we were before. So I want to check to make sure that the gun head spaces. That's the one thing I said I wanted to remember. Another thing I want to check is a little bit of sing. Pushing the trigger to the left, pushing it to the right. What happens is the trigger does this, which allows the hand to bend left to right. We want to make sure that it's still going to catch the ratchet pads. It's got sing now, which means when I bend the hand, it may not, because it's a little wider. And by bend it, we're going to time it. And we'll get into that in just a minute. All right, headspace. 2 cartridges with our half moon clip. These are live rounds. But I don't even need them to be by the firing pin. I just need them to go into the gun. And they do. Cock the hammer and slowly rotate. We're good. Get those out of there. So we headspace now, or what I was worried about was tightening when we took out the end shake, is making it too tight to where the half moon clip and the shells wouldn't go in. But we do, so I'm not worried about that. Cool. Take our cylinder out and take our grips off and our side plate. Again, my hands are probably in the way, but I'm sure most of you have seen a Smith & Wesson grips come off before. Get my arms over here. Funny looking. And when you take these apart, if you're not used to it, lay it out in a specific order. Then when you go to reassemble, you reassemble it in reverse order. Nod, nod, wink, wink. But there is some truth to that. A couple of those screws look very similar. This is a 5 screw. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This screw I probably won't have to take out. The 4 side plate screws I will. And I've gotten in the habit of this screw goes here, this one there, just lay them out in order. The 5th one, the big large headed one up here by the hammer, always goes all the way to the right. It's not that I'm worried about it, it's just that the one that retains the crane is fitted and it looks like 2 of those others. And if you get them mixed up, invariably it'll take you 3 tries to get the right screw back. Just saves you time. And I know people hate that when I do that in the disassemble reassembles. Okay, so a couple ways to take your side plate off. One, you can stick a screwdriver under here and pry. It does work. You can mar up the frame and the side plate. You can also tap here. And in the Smith & Wesson class, I had a bunch of people say, Bob said never to do that. And I said, did Bob say never to do that, or just that's not the way he does it? I like to do it that way because you saw it vibrated loose, pulled it off. No damage to anything, a little bit of vibrations. Either way works. Whichever way you're most comfortable with. It's 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. I've actually tapped the handle where I had some of them that didn't want to come off, so I had to use a screwdriver to kind of pry it off. So there. All right, I'm going to unscrew the strain screw and remove the hammer. Now I'm going to put the cylinder back in. Take my glasses off so I can see where we're at and point things out to you. And I didn't get a pointer. I'm going to use this punch here. Here are our ratchet pads. Okay. The hand comes up, hits right here, roughly, pushes this up till the cylinder locks into place, and then the hand slides beside the ratchet pad. It's easy to watch. Well, if there's light, it's easy to watch. Look right down in there. We'll do this several times so you can see. The hand comes forward, gets underneath that ratchet pad, comes up, slides beside it. We're slow. So what I've done is I took a Sharpie marker and I colored the back of 3 of them. So now we're going to go in and see if that's going to make it a little easier to see. I got 3 of them colored red. Okay, in this view, the red, which is going to move in a minute because the hand comes up and hits, that's the back of the ratchet pad. The hand is underneath the ratchet pad. It raises that ratchet pad until the hand can slide beside the ratchet pad. Once it can slide beside it, it simply does. There's the next one. See that? Slides beside it. So, in order to make the cylinder rotate further, because that's what's going on, is our cylinder rotates so far, then stops rotating. The hammer goes to full cock. The hand is up beside the ratchet pad. It's not turning the cylinder any further. And we can rotate our cylinder just a little bit. Remember, we want our cylinder stop to engage the notch in the cylinder at the same time or just before the hammer goes to full cock notch. That way, anybody that precisely cocks that hammer after firing 5 shots, so we have drag, our cartridges expand under pressure, back up against the breech face, and drag. That's the reason I always check timing with drag. Once we fired our 5 shots, we have plenty of drag and friction on our cylinder. If you cock it very slowly and precisely, we still want our cylinder to time. We want it indexed with the cylinder stop in the notch so the chamber lines up with the barrel. If it doesn't, you can imagine the bullet hits the back of the barrel and doesn't go down the barrel, down the bore. So that's what's going on. So how are we going to fix it? Well, if you're independently wealthy, or your Smith & Wesson, you just have a bin full of small bins. Each small bin has a standard hand and then one that's, I don't even know the sizes, 5 thousandths bigger in diameter. Then the next one is 5 thousandths bigger than that one. Then the next one's 5 thousandths bigger than that one. Up to however many, I don't remember. They had a bunch. I'm not independently wealthy. I'm not going to go out and buy 5 different oversized hands for K-frame, 5 different oversized hands for N-frame, 5 different sized hands for K and L and J and N, however many different hands, right? Frames. When I can simply take the existing one in it, and if I bend the nose, the distance from here to here is what we're worried about. So if I bend that, all of a sudden we're going from here to here. I've just made the hand essentially wider. I'm using the existing one. So now, well, Ken, that sucks. You should really replace it with an oversized hand. Okay, no problem. Where are you going to find an oversized hand that has this shelf for turning off the side plate safety? Good luck. Good luck. So I'm going to bend this hand. That's one way. Now there is another way. Instead of making the hand wider, couldn't we make the ratchet pads wider? Get out your TIG machine and you weld up each one of these. No, I'm kidding. Look at how small these are. They're very small. I'm kidding. Don't weld on your ratchet pads. It was a joke. But you can stretch these. Kinda. Normally, on this one, it's slow on all 6 chambers, so I'm going to bend the hand for multiple reasons. One, I want to show you guys how to do it. 2, it's the better way to do it. If 4 or 5 of the chambers timed and 1 did not, that would mean that 4 or 5, let's say 5 chambers, the ratchet pads all fit well, and 1 was a little thin. So if I bend the hand to where it times that 6th one, now it's going to be too tight on the other 5. So what you can do is you can thump the ratchet pads. So I use a punch similar to this, and a lot of times I'll hit it on the 1-inch belt at about 320 grit, maybe a little coarser, because what's going to happen is you are going to come in and hit the ratchet pad like so, and you want to match up, when you hit it on the 1-inch belt, the face of the punch, the grind marks, you want to line them up with the machine marks on the ratchet pad. Simply cosmetic, because people see this. They open the gun, they kick out their shells. They see it all the time. So you don't want it to look odd, all right? Now, you're not going to simply just hit it here, just randomly hit it. You're actually not going to hit it straight down. You're going to hit it at a little bit of an angle, and you're going to hit it on the side. So we got the 3 red ones. We're going to focus on this red one right here. Imagine it's the one that is too thin. Well, are you going to hit it there? Probably not, because we rotate around. We're up here. The hand hits right here and slides beside this side. So you're going to hit it like so. What that's going to do is it's going to mushroom the edge of this ratchet pad over just a little bit. And again, this is a fix for when you have 1 or 2 ratchet pads that are slow while the others time well. I don't want people going and thumping every single one of them. That's cheating, and it looks bad. It's also not very permanent because you're raising just a little edge, which is going to wear because the top of the hand, which I don't have out of the gun yet, is going to drag across that, and it'll wear it away sooner. But it's kind of what you have to do because, again, 1 is slow, it's a little thin. The other 5 chambers, the ratchet pads, are correct. So that's another way to do it. Just explaining, giving you guys your options. The more information you have, the better you can attack things. And this system's used on a bunch of different guns. Some of your early Colt black powder revolvers. Same deal. The hand is on the other side, so the cylinder rotates clockwise, but mechanically it's the same. Charter arms, right? High standard, H&Rs. You know, the width of the hand is what determines how far the cylinder rotates. So there's a lot of them out there. It's a fun system, easier to work on than the Colts. So the Colts are, again, just a lot more difficult to do. All right, so what I'm going to do is pull this guy apart, and we're going to go bend it. So the next time you see me, we'll actually be up at the torch where I can heat it red. You can try to bend them cold, but if you do, you will break them, or eventually you'll break them. I've learned to just, on the Smith hands, I just heat them red, bend them a little bit, and away we go. Anneal them, which you'll see in just a minute. We'll see at the torch. All right, so welcome to the torch dirty room, and it's dirty and nasty, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast, if you will. So down here in the vise, I've got the hand clamped. So I'm going to come in with the torch on what is the left side. I'm going to heat it up. When it turns red, I'm going to take a little hammer and hit it on what is the right side, and I want to bend just the tip. Don't need to bend the whole thing, and I just want to bend it a little bit. Just always tell you how things are. I almost always overbend, and it's not because I try to. I'm heavy-handed, I guess. I usually end up overbending, and then we have to address that when we get back and fit the hand to the gun. But just giving you kind of a heads up. So let me get this fired up. Heat that hand up. What sucks about the one with the shelf, for turning off the safety and the side plate, is that shelf gets red a lot faster because it's thinner metal there. I don't want to melt it. All right, you can see it's not much. Now, I always pull this out. I want to check to make sure it's got a little bit of a bend to it, and then I'm going to quench it in some oil. And I know that might have been kind of quick and rushed on the camera crew. I wanted to get it checked to make sure that there was a slight bend to it. So I think you can see right at the top it's got a slight bend. Remember how far the cylinder had to rotate? It wasn't very far. So now what we're going to do, since we had it heated red and then we quenched it in oil, is we're going to polish this and then anneal it. So we'll go back down to the bench, get that done. All right, so we're back at the vise and the workbench, and I have the hand in the vise, which you'll zoom in here on just a minute. Basically, I'm just going to take some sandpaper. I'm going to polish virtually all the surfaces so I can lay it down on a plate, an aluminum plate, warm the plate up from underneath. The hand will absorb the heat, annealing it, or relaxing the molecules so it's not brittle. We want it to be tough and resilient, not brittle, but not soft like butter, because butter will bend real easy. So a happy medium there. Heat it up to a blue after it's been heated red, quenched in oil if it's an oil hardening steel. So, all right. Bits and pieces of half worn out sandpaper, because it doesn't really matter. All I'm doing is getting off any scale that I can see or discoloration to the metal. I want pure white metal. And it doesn't have to be on everything. So the pins, the pivot pins, I'm not going to polish them. They were down here at the bottom where it shouldn't matter. But as long as I get the rest of the hand polished down by them, that'll be fine. A lot of times I'll take and I'll actually clamp that larger diameter pin carefully, because if that stuff's brittle, I don't want them to break. That shelf or tapered shelf where it turns off the safety in the side plate. See that? Then the front. And notice that when I clamp it, since it has a bend, I'm not trying to clamp it to where I'm going to straighten that bend out. I'm clamping down here where it's straight. So the bend is, if you try to clamp it, it's more likely to break. And my vise I've had for about 5 years is really close to dying. I'm gonna have to get another one. Again, just bare metal. I know my fingers are in the way, I apologize. I'm just trying to get most of that scale and discoloration off of there. If you really want to polish those little pins, go slow, because if they are hard, you don't want to break them. Not that they can't be replaced, just why give yourself extra work? I'll do the top. And the reason I try to do all the surfaces, just so in case I get a different angle when I'm looking at it, I can see all the areas are blue. You could hit it on a buffer. I don't like doing that because if you happen to let it slip, it bounces around and can break. All right. Now I'm going to make smoke because my plate has a tendency to get oil and crud on it. Try to find a fairly flat spot where I can look at it and see that it lays like so. Turn the heat down, doesn't need to be super hot. Now I'm going to heat up this plate so the hand itself will absorb the heat from the plate at a slower rate, so it'll relax and be tempered, if you will, or annealed, softened. It's brittle now, and as you heat it up, we want it to be tough but flexible, sort of like a spring. Not that the part's flexing, but if it's brittle, you shoot it a couple times. Imagine the vibrations when a cartridge goes off inside a revolver. Man, things are vibrating and jumping around and carrying on, and it'll just simply break. So this is the monotonous, boring part. We're just heating it up, and you're just listening to my monotone voice as I heat this up to a blue color. When I was a gunsmithing student, we had an instructor who was good at what he did, but he talked very monotone, and so sometimes it was like, man, don't want to take his classes in the afternoon. I'm not going to mention his name. He's a great guy. I don't even know if he's still alive. Neat. All my instructors were good guys. Never thought I'd be instructing. It's enjoyable. I see why people do it. I love it. It's fun. All right, so if one end starts to get a little bluer than the other, means it might be touching, there might be a gap in the plate. You can see this started to turn a little blue or purple up here, while the rest of it was just predominantly yellow. I'm just turning it around. Sometimes I'll even set it where I know that the part that's turning blue is not touching the plate. So the rest of the hand, or the part that I'm annealing, will absorb the heat. So it gets a little more even. Whoop. So turn that yellow. You can see the straw yellow color. Well, if I'd quit forcing the flame out, now it's starting to turn. Well, I'm wondering if I'm running out of juice. So you can see now it's starting to turn a little purple. Got some purple in some spots. Those of you that aren't colorblind. And then blue. It's starting to turn blue in a couple spots. If you are colorblind, in all seriousness, get yourself a lead pot and some of that niter blue saltpeter stuff and a temperature gauge, and anneal parts like this in that. That way you can go, hey, right up to 650 degrees, and that's going to be a pretty blue or in that realm. There we go. So she's blue. She's got a couple purple spots in it. But again, we're going to let it kind of sit. Actually, I'm going to pick that up. See that? Got some pretty blues. I'm going to take that off. So a lot of times, this is where predominantly the heat was, in this area on the plate. I may even take and set it over here so it absorbs the heat a little slower. This is a pretty good blue. So actually, I'm going to take it right off the heat completely, set it on the vise, let everything cool down, and then we'll try it in the gun. All right, so I put the hand aside just to let it cool so we can handle it when we're done. Let it cool, then we'll put it in the gun. If it works, I'm going to have to take it out again and polish it because it needs to be white. If people take their gun apart and they see that it's blue, oh, it's been heated, danger, danger, and they get nervous. So they know that that part is supposed to be in the white, polished white. So we'll want to polish it white. Now, I could polish it white now and hope that it fits perfect when I put it in the gun. Chances are it's not going to fit exactly right. Either I'm going to have to bend it a little more, or what's more likely is that I'm going to have to shave it, thin it down just a little bit so it'll rotate the cylinder to the correct position, lock into place, and then the hand slide past the ratchet pad. If it rotates and locks into place, the cylinder stop is in the notch, and the cylinder can't turn anymore, and the hand can't fit beside the ratchet pad, then the hammer, you can't cock the hammer. So that's kind of where we're at on those. I did mention colorblind. In all seriousness, and I was being serious about that. Get yourself a lead pot, put some of that niter blue in it for tempering springs, and then you can tell exactly what temperature you're annealing parts to. So you don't have to go, oh, I don't know what blue is because I don't know. I have a family member, I'm not going to mention specifically who, very colorblind, very colorblind. Did not know that Schindler's List was a black and white movie. We were talking about the little girl with the red coat. What are you talking? Which girl had the red coat? You know, the little girl with the red coat. He's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. We knew he was colorblind, but we said the only color in the movie, hello, and it's not a color movie. It's a black and white movie. And we said, yeah. And at that point we went, wow. Yeah, we knew you're colorblind. None of us realized how colorblind. So in all of seriousness, yeah, and it's great at family get-togethers, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Oh yeah, we tease him. Yeah, that package, the red one's for you. Yeah, we tease him pretty hard, but it makes you think about it. And I'm just wasting time with these fun stories, right? Because we're waiting for the hand to cool. Dang it. I'm going to move this plate and check that hand. If it's at this point, I can actually quench it in water and it'll be fine. So I'm going to move this hot plate so I can be by my vise without burning myself. I'm going to get that hand. If it's not cool enough to handle, then I'll quench it, and we'll be back over my shoulder in just a minute. All right, just to save time, I went ahead and put the hand on the trigger. I'm going to put this in the gun now. This is not a DNR. So first things first, the hand has to be able to fit through the window here to catch the ratchet pads, and it don't. So I already know that the hand is too wide, so I'm going to have to thin it. But I want to look just to see. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to have to thin it. It's actually wedged in there at this point. Oh, come on. There we go. All I wanted to do was hold it back so I could get it out. So it's too wide up here. You can actually see that white mark right there where it's rubbed. And then it's probably rubbed right in here, because this edge rubs on the outside of the window and this edge rubs on the inside. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm just going to file off of this. Just a little bit, couple swipes with the file, stop, put it back in the gun and check it. So got the hand in the vise. Oh, got to be careful. Rotates a little. So I said a couple times, I hit it actually at an angle. I'm exaggerating right now, but I actually started filing off this back edge a little more, and I needed to get that front edge. then I'm going to take some sandpaper and polish that up just a little. And now repeat. Put it in the gun, see how it looks, see how it works. All right, so got the hand in the trigger. Okay, so the hand is now entering the hand window. Turn this around, watch right here. There's our hand. So that's good. So now I'm going to install our rebound assembly. Good. Goes up, enough spring tension to bring it down. A lot of times what happens is the hand is tight. So you pull it, it gets tight up there. I can even force it to stay there by putting enough pressure on it. And it sticks, but right now we're good to go. So now I'm going to put the cylinder in. And hey, look at that. One of the red ratchet pads showed up. So hand goes in, hits the bottom of the ratchet pad, rotates the cylinder, and starts to go up alongside. Okay, so right there, see the cylinder's not rotating. The hand isn't getting underneath that. There it did. I did it slow enough to where it sweeps in and just barely misses getting under the ratchet pad. It gets on the back of the ratchet pad, actually on the color where I have it colored red. As I continue to pull, there's nothing for the hand to twist. If I bring it in slow, sometimes there, no. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to have to thin that hand just a little bit, or I'm going to have to open the hand window so there's more room for the hand to float around, if you will, for lack of a better term. See, it doesn't want to do it on that one right there. All right, so before I do that, does it time? It rotates the cylinder most of the time. I don't know, who knows, right? So we're going to quickly put this together a little bit. So pull the hand, well. So I'm cheating to check the timing. I'll explain that in a minute. There. It's going to time. All right, so since the hand can't sweep in and get underneath every ratchet pad, when I pull the hammer back so far and the trigger pulls the cylinder stop out of the way, if I rotate it part way, the cylinder part way, and then go to recock, the hand now gets underneath the ratchet pad and it's going to turn the cylinder as far as that ratchet pad will allow it. So I can see cylinder stop is in its notch on this particular ratchet pad, cylinder stop, etc., but the hammer's not at full cock, which means cylinder's in place before the hammer's at full cock. That's a good thing. Is there enough room for the hand to slide beside the ratchet pad and the hammer to go to full cock? Absolutely. See, it only does it part of the time. Okay, so the hand is right there. Things are timing as they should. I could thin the hand just a little more. I could buff it. What I'll probably do is polish it and buff it just a little bit so it's smooth and can slide in and out. I'm also going to open the hand window up just a little bit, and obviously we're going to show you that on camera, so hang on. What I'm going to do now is take the gun apart. I'm going to polish that hand, which you don't need to see. Polish it so it's nice and bare white metal. Probably hit it on the buffer a little bit, put it back in the trigger. Then I'll get the hand window file, show you what's going on there and how we're going to do that. So I'll see you after I've done a few things. Again, just to save time, you don't need to see me polish the hand again. All right, so I have the hand polished, got it back in the trigger. It's not in the gun because I'm going to touch up that hand window, but I want to talk to you about the hand window first, all right? Because too many guys in the past I've noticed They hear the hand window, they see the hand window files, and they're like, my gun doesn't time, I've got to open my hand window. You don't necessarily have to open your hand window. You open your hand window when you've bent your hand or put in an oversized hand and it binds in the hand window, or you don't have sing left or right. So we talked about sing earlier. It's when you push the trigger to the left and push it to the right, the trigger can tilt inside the gun a little bit, which tilts the hand a little bit. When it tilts, the hand can often stick. When you spin the cylinder, you want to hear the click, 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 click of the hand dragging across the ratchet pad and snapping underneath it and dragging across the next one. That's what the click, 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 click is. You want that click, click, click when the trigger's pushed to the right or pushed to the left. I pointed the wrong ways, but push to the right, push to the left, simply so when you squeeze that gun under duress with an adrenaline rush, if you happen to be pushing the trigger to what is the left and that trigger binds in there or twists in there, the hand, we want it to still return and get underneath the next ratchet pad, so when you pull the trigger, it will rotate the cylinder and fire the next cartridge. I can't imagine much being worse than leads coming your way and you pull out your gun and go, ugh, and it doesn't fire. I've had nightmares where I've woke up because that's the kind of crap that happens. So, by opening the hand window, you give the hand more room to play around in there. It doesn't bind in the hand window. That's one of the reasons for doing it. On our instance, we had sing. We bent the hand. I didn't check for sing, but we bent the hand. Now the hand, you saw it, wouldn't come all the way in and get underneath each ratchet pad. So I'm going to open up that hand window so it has a little bit more room so it can move forward, get underneath that ratchet pad. So I got a whole bunch of files here, which we've had for years and years and years. A couple of them are newer. This thin one is actually a cylinder stop window file, but I predominantly use it for the hand window. I have one great big one, and one end is broke off. It's been broke off since I've worked for Bob, 30 years, give or take. But I use that quite a little bit on the larger frame guns. Again, same thing with these. One or two of them's broken, and I did not break them. So it's basically like that. You're not going to be able to see me because I got to get some leverage on it. I'm going to work it back and forth from here to here. Then I'm going to come in probably with one of these smaller ones and hit the shelf here at the bottom. Because if you open it from here to here, you still got this step down here where it doesn't get to, right there. So I'll need to come in like so to get that. So that's how I'm doing it. That's what's going on. I'm not going to do it a lot because, again, the hand is real close to doing it, to operating correctly. And I polished the hand and then buffed it so it's nice and smooth. It should glide in there. We're not taking a ton of material out. Be sure to keep all your fancy pink toothbrushes that your kids have for cleaning out any debris and whatnot. Now, like I said, I got to come in from the bottom and get this little area here. You're not going to be able to see this because I got to be able to get down where I can see it. So it seems like I'm filing a lot and taking off a lot of material, but I'm really not. Make sure that everything's clean, brushed out of there. And then we'll put the trigger back in. For those of you who are astute, you'll notice that that spring, the rebound spring, has been clipped. This is not a defense gun, and I know the customer. I will talk to him about that. If he wants me to replace it with a standard length one, we will at that point. But right now I'm not going to. getting under every single one of them. Fast or slow. So we are getting much, much closer. Okay, there's one that's a little slow. So what I'm going to do is color this flute. There's another one. I thought I had one right towards the beginning when I first started. That's the reason you got to check all 6. 1, 2, 3. That one's slow. All right, so I got 2 out of 6. So remember how we talked about thumping the ratchet pads? Yeah, well, you're going to get to watch me do it. So if this is the flute that's straight out the side, the one we colored, the ratchet pad for that chamber is this one up here. Not the one right colored. Not this one, but this one. You want to make sure that you get the right one. Again, here's the colored flute, comes across here. Not this ratchet pad, this one. All right, we'll go to my vise. I have the cylinder set up in the vise, and I'm going to come in with the punch, add a little bit of an angle, show you that in just a minute when we get down there. I did not take the crane and all that apart. I don't have to. Take a look. So the crane assembly and whatnot come right down in like so. Now I want to find a colored flute. There's one of the colored flutes, so I know I always rotate it around so it's on my right-hand side. I come right up and over. I know that this is going to be the ratchet pad I need to get. Not straight down, at a little bit of an angle. My hand is going to probably be a little bit in the way. Get the grind marks going the right direction. And you will actually see the flat form on the ratchet pad. Let me find that other colored flute. That ratchet pad even actually looks thinner. All right, now we go back to the gun. All right, so that's a non-colored flute. That one times, we already know it times. That one times. Oh, that one times now. Colored flute. That one times. That one times. That little bit of thumping did the job. Now, since we're standing right here, okay, pushing the trigger one way or the other, we don't have quite enough sing. Virtually no sing. So that would indicate that I need to open up that hand window so that hand has more room to flop forward and get underneath the ratchet pad each time. And when I get that hand window opened up all the way to where it looks like we're going to have sing, we'll show you where we're at. So we open up the hand window and by golly, we got sing right and left. So first thing, just pulling the hammer back. Got it. Using just the trigger, pushing from right to left, left to right. So for your right-handed shooters and your incorrect shooters, I mean left-handed shooters, just teasing, the cameraman's left-handed, my mother-in-law's left-handed, my mother's left-handed, my daughter's left-handed. I'm surrounded by these weirdos. Regardless, the gun's ready to go. So, aligned the crane, removed end shake, timed it, opened the hand window to give a sing. Old Warhorse is back ready to go. This customer has some, he got a couple 1911s and he's got some ammo that doesn't quite cycle him. So he's always wanted one of these. Now he's got one. He's good to go. I'm happy. Hope you guys are still happy. And we'll see you next time.
If you want to learn real gunsmithing and see more videos like this, be sure and like and subscribe so you don't miss out. If you're interested in training to be a real gunsmith, go check out the AmericanGunsmithinginstitute.com, or for your own firearms training, AmericanGunsmith.com.